not flaked on the top. And I got a nice cone shape going here. And although you think of it as a round core, it's not. It's a triangular core. I would hit this one, that one, and then rotate them. This one, and that one. And if you look on the Clovis cores, the conical cores, we have one in the lab right now that came from South Texas someplace. It still has a lot of the really good blade scars on it. And you can see the last blades were there, and there. So you end up developing a face, and so you end up with almost always center blades by using a conical. But if you use it, if you try to go here, you don't get that. That's something one of my really good Russian colleagues showed me. He showed me this. Let's see, it was there. This is the next spot here.
And where's that stone from?
This is French.
Oh, that's why.
Bien sûr. This is Upper Turonian, Grand Persini flint.
Butterscotch.
Yeah, butterscotch flint. The gun flints you get from France aren't made out of this. They're made out of the flint of the same variety 2 valleys over. You got the Andre and then the Cher, and the gun flints were coming out of the Cher. These buggers are going to all break on me today.
They're breaking in the same spot, or?
Yeah. It didn't quite run. This is one of those situations where I need to take the next blade over next.
All these indirect angles and forces, are you good at pool too?
Am I what? No.
No?
No.
I was sure you'd be good at pool.
I haven't
It
practiced
seems like
very
similar
much.
calculations.
Yeah, you're looking at your leaf, you know.
It is very similar, I suppose.
Say that.
There we go.
You're talking about it earlier. Wow. You'd be good at pool.
Are the Hopewellian blade cores the same basic approach?
The who?
Hopewellian?
Oh, that's, no, the Hopewell stuff that I've seen, you got 2 techniques. You've got a direct percussion and a pressure. But, you know, we're talking little guys like this, heat treated. They're there for a little while and then they go away. I just don't understand that technology at all. Why it's so... And there's not a lot of it. I mean, it's around. They were heat treating that Flint Ridge stuff. Man, it's pretty. And I'll do one more because it looks like it ought to be done. See if I can get a second one. No, went a little short. However, it's these slightly shorter ones that turn out just a little bit to give you the really good blanks because they're flat. You go off the end, they tend to curve off the end. So double ridged, that would make a nice point.
Because?
Generally speaking, I can do almost the same with direct percussion. And not have to mess with keeping the punch and all that stuff. It doesn't preclude it being used as a technique in the past. I'm sure it was. I've never gotten really good at making these really sharp platforms like I've got here for indirect percussion. I think it works best on flat platforms like that, blade core. But I've done it before. I'll probably break this right in half, and I've had some pretty good success with it. But I just tend to not like it. It slips off. It doesn't. You get a little flake there. But it might be something that you use to do that, like that big dome thing there, maybe, or maybe some of the Duck River cache things, the big swords. Where you have sort of, you don't have a real thin section, you have sort of a thicker section. And indirect percussion gives you a lot more sort of, you can just tap them off.
Something like that intervale point, the long one you talked about.
Yeah.
Would you? It's probably set on an angle. It's supported. Would you think it would require 2 people to do it? One to hold it in place, or do you think you can hold with your feet well enough on the support?
I mean, that big, long, skinny one?
No, the cast that you're talking about, the Folsom style Eastern Point. Could that be done by one person, or do you think it would?
Yeah, it could be done by one person. It's pretty. It depends on how you hold it. You know, a lot of these sort of things that people have come up with, these vices and stuff, I don't like at all. But you can just cut a notch in a log that goes this way and that way at the same time. Just trying to set up another platform here. I don't like the way it looks. So are there any questions about why Clovis biface technology is so distinctive and what makes it distinctive? This is what we're trying to look at in terms of tracking what happens to Clovis. Where does it go? What does it become?
It's a whole package.
It's a whole package.
And then when they lose the package, you've lost Clovis.
Yeah, you haven't lost people. We don't.
No. I mean the Clovis.
Whatever.
And parts of that carry on in Folsom or other derivative cultures.
Yes, although I don't think Folsom's derivative of Clovis.
Okay.
But that's just my opinion. See, now I had that flake indirect and then this flake indirect, and you can see that it works fine.
Mm-hmm.
I just never really felt like I needed to use it for anything.
Would Gainey be a Clovis derivative?
I think Gainey is, potentially. When I say it's not a Clovis derivative...
Can you say more about that?
How do I mean that? I'll tell you what I think what's going on. Okay. You got this thing called pre-Clovis, AE, Miles Point, ends up being Page Ladson, Cactus Hill, all that East Coast, Continental Shelf stuff. Those folks are mostly on the shelf. They're out there doing their thing. But when Solutrean folks get over, and they go back and forth a lot, well, the ice is still there. It's not like there's a migration over. They're just exploiting that ice front, and they're using it from both ends. And then the ice front goes away at the end of the glacial maximum. They lose that, but then they're gaining a lot of other stuff. You know, as things ameliorate, things get warmer, they're getting better climates to work in. Anyhow, one of the Solutrean descendant groups stays on that coastal plain and ends up becoming Clovis. Another of that group is going around the front of the ice, following the ice around, and this is what ends up being Hebwar, what that stuff in Wisconsin is. It ultimately becomes Goshen out on the plains, and Goshen is turns into Folsom, not Clovis. Now the fluting, you don't have fluting in Goshen, but you have all the rest of Folsom technology is Goshen. You got big ultra thins, and you don't have overshot flaking like you do in Clovis. And then they start fluting those incredible mill iron style points. That's what a Folsom is. Now the inspiration for fluting could have come from Clovis, but I don't think it's a direct derivative. Not like Dome's a direct derivative of Clovis. And maybe your stuff is a direct derivative of Clovis. I don't know. It looks more like Folsom stuff. So maybe there's something refluting up in your area too.
We have a problem with that ice sitting on top of it.
Yeah, that's the problem. So it may be further south still. But anyhow, just ideas. Some stratigraphic. You flute some of those and you got Folsom. I think we need to wrap up. It's getting on.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.